Hello and welcome everybody to the Advent Calendar make-along, and this time we are making a mince pie, and you will find this in your Advent Calendar in 2024 in day number 11. So this is another gold envelope, and it is the project is to make a mince pie as shown here. It's quite tiddly, and I will tell you why it is so small. It's because this particular project, it's all about needle felting things down absolutely super rock solid. So a small project can take actually quite a long time, and so we're going to make small mince pies. You can even make them tiddlier if you like, and make two, could even turn into a set of earrings or some mini decorations, but I'm aiming for this size right now. So in your Advent calendar day, you have got our favorite core wool, which is the Lanolin Rich Core Wool, and you've also got some Portuguese merino, which is this lovely rich chocolate color brown. And you will need a felting mat, which I've got at the ready here. And you also need, start out with a medium needle, which is the orange top one, and then go down to a fine one potentially. But you're not gonna get anywhere with a coarse needle on this particular project. Right, so let's start without further delay, and here we go. So you've got your wool. It can sometimes come a little bit bitty. This is a good practice for anything that you need to make from a core wool. Take your wool and overlay it, because we're trying to make quite a long sausage. So when I say a long sausage, a long strand, really, the sausage will not be very long. When we're rolling it up, it will be quite short, but we do want to get it as long as we can. And then so you could overlay all of the wool depending on how big you want to make your mince pie. And then you're going to start pulling this together a little bit, and then you want to also fold in one side into the middle, so you're making it even more narrow, but you have a slightly thicker part here. And now you're going to start winding this in. So where the thicker part is, that will feel slightly more solid at the top. So go all the way. And then just use your felting needle to close the shape up. Like this. So you've got quite a loose sausage here at the moment. This is where I've got the thicker part. And now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to felt this end in. This is the bit where you just have had the wispy ends, and to felt this in. That's going to become the base of the mince pie. It is a lot of stabbing, so just be prepared. You will be using this needle for a long time. So if you've had a bad day at work, this is the perfect project for you to get going on. Now we want to make this as squat as possible, so that we have quite a shallow mince pie. So this is gonna require a lot of stabbing. And we're gonna stab into the opposite end as well. So at the moment we're just reducing the depth of the mince pie. And what I'm doing here already, I'm actually going to create a little hollow. So where I've folded the wool over, this is the part at the top now, I'm going to create a little hollow. This is very, very, very good if you want to learn how to sculpt just from wool without anything else. It's the most simplest and straightforward technique, and yet it is something that not everybody is able to do. So if you haven't mastered this yet, this is a great opportunity. So I at the moment have got a really fluffy outer. I've got quite a square and flat base. And what I want to do now is I want to now felt this in, so that these bits here become more narrow. So I'm staying away from the top, but I'm going to felt consistently this one so that it becomes slightly more narrow. So it's ever such a slight cone shape. So it's not a cylinder anymore. It will become a cone shape. And if you need to take a break, because it does get on your arm quite a lot. This constant stabbing. But it is a great way to sculpt by just using wool. And the Lanolin Rich Core Wool is perfect for that kind of modeling. And it's also a great color for mince pie. If you like your mince pies a little bit more golden, you can actually use some crayons, or maybe you've got some eyeshadow, some sort of soft brown eyeshadow. You can adjust the color of the wool even when it's completely finished. I should have also told you to keep a little bit to one side for the lid. So if you haven't done this, sorry, just tease them off like I just did. Right, so we're going to felt the base. This is the bottom of my mince pie, so at the moment it looks a little bit like this. We're going to felt this really solid to make it slightly more narrow at the base than at the top. So felt this down. There's not much I can say really while I'm doing this, because it's just a consistent stabbing away at your shape. Now we'd still want to make it as flat as possible, so you're also going to stab more into the base. And this is where the solidity of this mince pie comes from. It's literally just stabbing it consistently from different directions and going over and over it again. So it is a slightly more condensed shape now, which is good, which is what we want. And I haven't done very much on the top yet, but it's almost like I'm doing a bit of a muffin top here. So I'm keeping the top soft right now. Definitely gets on your arm. So take a break if you need to. Just pause me and come back to it. And a little bit more here in the base again. If you have a multi-tool, I suppose you could use a 3 needle felting tool if you've got one handy, or you could, yes, I don't think I would use anything bigger than a 3 needle tool, because it's such a small shape. You really don't want to go to town with a 6 needle tool or something, or 5 needle tool, and then just end up stabbing into yourself. So maybe just stick. You can use 2 needles. That's a possibility. Let's try that. So just have to find another medium needle. Can use 2 needles. That speeds work up. So I hold them like this so that they're parallel to each other. If you find that hard to hold them, you could tape them together with a bit of washi tape. Another very useful washi tape. So the shape I'm trying to get is slightly more narrow at the base and bigger at the top. So what I'm going to do now is, because I need to put my mince inside the mince pie, I'm just going to make that dent a bit bigger, a bit closer to the edge. So I'm now going to fill my mince pie with mince, except it's not half as much in there as you would want in a real mince pie. So I'm starting with a small quantity, and I'm felting this now inside the top. And I might have to repeat this if it's not enough. So I'm going quite close to the edge, because I want it to look nice and full. And make sure that you get rid of all the wispy fibers, because we don't want a furry mince pie. this down really solid. So you've got this kind of contraption at the moment. And I'm going back to my single needle now, and I'm going to felt into the edge here at the top a little bit more. So I'm still keeping this part quite unfelted for now. I think I've actually changed to a fine needle inadvertently. Just means you have to stop a bit faster, get the same result. It's quite dense now, the shape. So you can see that this ridge here at the top is still soft. I'm keeping that quite soft still. And maybe add a little bit more brown into it as well. And make it go as far into the edge at the top as possible. Like that. And then you will have to change to your medium needle. So get your medium needle at the ready. Just going to give it another little bit of a stab all over. Who would have thought that it takes so long to make a mince pie with just 2 types of wool? Crazy. But what I want you to do now is I want you to go very consistently, and all of this roughness edge here needs to be felted down in the next sort of in the next step. But what I want you to do is you're going to now stab into your mince pie like this. So you're stabbing a ridge or a dent or a line or whatever you want to call it into the edge here. Hope you can see that all right. So you can actually also use a coarse needle for this, just to get the dent going in here. Don't know if you can tell what I'm doing here. So you're now adding a line into the very top of your mince pie. And I want to say we are probably sort of 3/4 through with the shaping. So there's still a little bit to come. Make sure that the edge stays nice and crisp. And again, if you like making detailed things, then this might be just up your street. If you are, if you like for things to happen a little bit faster, then this might be quite unnerving for you. But it is a good practice. It's a good exercise to actually see how far you can go with this wool. How far can you stab it if you want to get the result you want to get. So keep at it, just persevere. Oh, I need to take a little break now. Sometimes it also helps squishing it down a bit again. So we need to reduce the height of the mince pie in a minute. And we want to make sure that this edge that you've just created is not taking over the brown. So just push it a little bit out again. But the ridges stay. And then felt into your brown a little bit more. I'm going back to my 2 needles. Sink the brown in a little bit more. You can even use those 2 needles to go into the edge again. There's no limit to this to the Lanolin Rich Core Wool and the sculpting that you can do with it. It's an extremely good wool to shape. Even though you're just making a mince pie, you get a really good feel for how amazing the Lanolin Rich Core Wool is. It is the best. I've had a conversation recently with somebody who said, oh, so what's this basic core wool? I said, well, it's basic core wool. You can put it inside if you want to. And then I said, but she said, I usually use the, how does it compare to the Lanolin Rich? I said, well, actually it doesn't. It's just that it's a cheaper version of doing it, but if you like the Lanolin Rich, then stick with it. I'm picking out little vegetable bits that can happen in sheep wool, so it's called VM, so don't think it's any reflection on the quality of the wool. It just is a reflection on the quality of life of the sheep that the sheep are having. They are just happily grazing in the fields. And what happens is when you step into it, these bits work their way up. So I'm going back into the side. So it's a constant back and forth and back and forth. And in a minute, I'm going to try and make the whole mince pie a little bit more shallow again by stabbing into the base. So I still want to make sure that the mince pie is really flat, not tall. As long as you can squish the shape, you can felt it. If it's so rock solid you can't squish it, then you can't do any more. So I'm going back into making it a little bit flatter. So basically the pattern here, if in case you hadn't noticed it, is flattening it, shaping it more narrow towards the base, and then getting that that curve, that pastry curve at the top, where the shape of the oh, what do you call it again? Wherever the pastry goes in, where the shape of it looks slightly ridged. So the most important thing that will make your mince pie look like a mince pie is whatever you put on the top, and I've got that covered as well. So basically you will have to keep stabbing into these little ridges as well. It's a repeat of making it shallow, making it more tapered towards the end, the base, and then getting these ridges nice and make them look nice and crisp. But going quickly to how you make the top. So the way that I have done this, I just layer up some of this Lanolin Rich Core Wool, and all I'm going to do is flat felt it now. It's hard to tell on the white mat. Have I got any colored mat here? I don't think I have. So you just have to stick with me with this one. But I'm making a very solid felted sheet now. And for this, I've felt it flat on the mat, and then I've got to peel it off and turn it round. If you have a brush mat and a 7 needle felting tool, you might be able to speed this up. You can start out with quite coarse needles. I'm using 2 needles here at the same time right now. But you will have to make this really smooth eventually. And the main idea is that you don't have any gaps in it. So make sure that it's really a nice solid piece of fabric. And that means that you will have to at some point go to your fine needle and just stab it nice and just get it really smooth. So let's do that now. Again, nothing, even though it looks like a very simple and short project, you're actually getting oodles of tips and techniques out of this, and you're getting so much practice in working in really a fine detail. It's often when we do the larger projects, we sort of omit some of the finer detail because the project would be going on forever and ever. But I think it's definitely good to sometimes just keep at it and make the fine details happen. So I'm still stabbing away. Now, ideally what you need in a minute is actually a pen. and ideally a Sharpie pen or a felt tip pen, which I might have to just grab because I've only got a biro here and I forgot that I needed a pen. So I'm going to just get that quickly. But this is what my shape looks like at the moment. So there is a little bit of a weak spot here, but I'm going to avoid that in a minute. And I'm going to just get a felt tip pen because I'm going to draw a star on it. However, you can draw a heart on it if that's easier for you, because mince pies can have also got heart shaped tops. So, oh, what color is it going to be? It's going to be red, I think. All I can find. So I've only got a fine liner, but you can use a fat Sharpie pen or felt tip. And if you are doing a star, I can draw stars out of the top of my head because that's my surname and I've been drawing stars since I was a child. But if you find it too hard, then just draw a heart. So I'm going to do that. I'm just going to draw a heart now onto here. Little heart shape. Obviously the shape needs to be smaller than the top of the mince pie because you don't want to. There we go. Just draw a heart or a star shape, whatever you find easiest. And then you're going to cut it. Like this. So a little heart shape. Now you have to remember that where you've had the lines on your drawing, that needs to be on the inside of your mince pie. So don't get tempted to have the drawn line on the outside or forget to turn it around, because you don't want to see that. You don't want to see the whatever color pen you've used. And then just felt it on with your fine felting needle, like a little cutout biscuit shape. And that actually finishes off the mince pie quite nicely, but you can still work on the whole shape as well, because I can see there's just so much more I can do felting down. As long as your needle fits and as long as it's reducing the size, you can stab away. There's a little bit of VM coming out as well. They normally work their way to the top, so it's no point pulling them out at the beginning unless you feel that way inclined. They usually come all the way to the top and then you can pick them off. So again, it is a project for those who love to maybe spend a long time just stabbing and getting it exactly right. And what you can also do is, you can, if you've got a little bit of white wool left over from any of the previous projects, you can just put a dusting of white onto the top, because that is like you put a bit of icing sugar onto it, but just allow it to only be like a little, almost like a little dusting, literally a dusting. And there you have your mince pie. This one is slightly bigger, but that's the project for on your day 11 advent calendar. And I hope that you will make lots of these, either just for little decorations, or maybe you can fool somebody in believing it's a real one. That's it. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you very soon. Bye.